right, now I'm going to bring in Josh Crouch from Relentless Digital to talk a little bit about how HVAC contractors can sell when homeowners are getting multiple quotes. Thanks for joining us today, Josh.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
So we did an ACHR News homeowner study, and both homeowners and HVAC contractors kind of expect that homeowners are getting 3 quotes. So I guess maybe first off is, how can a contractor be sure they're one of those 3? How does the marketing work in that respect?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's no secret that at least when it comes to search, Google dominates the landscape. I think it's after that point, people don't necessarily know where to be found. Like obviously, you show up on Google because they have 90 or 92% of all search volume. And even though ChatGPT and Microsoft made a push, Google's search or amount of search volume has actually gone up by like a percentage point since that point, which is odd.
Yes.
But so that's number one. And then honestly, for me, it's always been a really multifaceted approach. You need to be everywhere. That means, at least from a digital perspective, Nextdoor, Better Business Bureau, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like you do have to have a presence everywhere. So the word omnipresence, which is kind of just a fancy word that people throw around, especially in the marketing world, you have to be everywhere because we don't know where our customers are searching. Some towns. So I used to work in HVAC for about 9 years, 3 different HVAC companies. We would get work off of yard signs. We would get work off of a BNI or Business Network International, Business Networking International. But we literally had a multifaceted approach, and we were just about every single place you could possibly find us. And it brought leads from all over. So it really helped us also mitigate some of the slow season things that happen with HVAC, because there's always somebody looking for something, whether it's an air duct cleaning service or something. So that would be my long-winded but short answer. It's a multifaceted approach.
That's interesting. What is your time as in the HVAC contracting world? Is that kind of what you guys saw too? 3 quotes is kind of par for the course?
Yeah, it's pretty typical. The companies I worked at, we usually had pretty good service/sales technicians where they were really good with the customer and stuff. So we never really went after the proactive customer, the proactive customer being the one that my system's working and I have time. I have a month, 2 months, 3 months. We didn't go after that work as much.
There's not as many out there, right? People tend not to think about HVAC that way.
They don't. Proactive customers are definitely a different bunch. You have to have kind of a different approach to them because they're going to be typically more analytical. Those are the people that they do the things on their house before they need to get done, like replace their gutters and their windows and all those things before it's actually like a big problem. Whereas reactive customers, which there's definitely a lot more reactive people out there, they'll wait until something breaks. And then obviously you go out there and you can do your pitch and you sell it and install it the next day.
Are there any ways from a marketing perspective to prevent those other quotes? Some key buzzwords you're putting in the ads, or coupon or discounts, or even if it's not really a coupon or discount, it's just kind of in their mind. Any kind of tricks that you could advise?
I think the best, I wouldn't call them tricks, but the best tips I can give people, and especially with automation this day and age, is as soon as that appointment is booked, start pre-selling your customer. Normally, when you have someone that's getting multiple quotes, you usually have that booked out. Usually it's not same day where it's like, hey, we're coming out and we're going to fix it because their system's working. So we have time to start pre-selling them on who we are, what our core values are, why we're the best fit, customer testimonials, all of these things, right? I think in the industry, and I'm sure you're doing many stories for HVAC companies, we're slow to adapt to technological changes compared to most industries. And that being really slow to adopt these things. There's all these CRMs that are out there in this world that they have some sort of capabilities where we can send text messages or emails, ringless voicemails, things that we can do to like, hey, we're going to show up at your house. This is what's going to happen. We're going to spend about this much time. We're going to go over these types of questions, like really set the stage for what they're going to expect and start building trust before you ever get in the home. I don't think that will completely negate the other quotes, but I know from a personal perspective, when we like the wall behind me, I don't know if you're sharing any of the recording, but the wall behind me is painted and someone did nice woodwork and stuff. And we've had some other contractors in here in this house, and the ones that we usually pay on more of the premium side, they always put down floor coverings. They always wear booties. They protect the, like when we painted the room, they covered everything. And the ones that we've gone the cheaper route generally are leaving a mess. They're picking up after themselves. Now it's a general statement. It's not everybody, but usually though, that's the difference. And usually the price point matches the level of service that you get.
Right.
And we my wife and I joke about it all the time. And you get like, we look at each other like, yeah, we got what we paid for.
Right. Well, I like the pre-selling thought process, because a lot of homeowners, what are they going to buy? 2, maybe 3 HV systems in their entire lifetime. So they're, when maybe nervous is overselling it, but there's the unknown. So if you can kind of walk them through, I'm going to be here this amount of time, and maybe send a picture of with a tech coming so they can kind of keep an eye out. Is that make most sense doing it via text and email? Do you just let the customer choose? Is there any other form of communication we should be using here?
Well, I mean, I think having a presence on social media is important, because if I was doing research, especially my wife, she usually goes in Facebook groups and asks for recommendations for stuff. And she's probably a lot more typical for, we're late 30s. So I know I don't look late 30s, but I'm late 30s. I'm not 40 yet. But typical, and I see that in our little neighborhood group. I shouldn't say little neighborhood group, but big neighborhood group page is where people are looking for recommendations, and it starts there. And the presence of your company, how you guys are presented on social media, how you guys just the pictures they share. People want to know who they're doing business with. The day of websites having the nice looking family with the 2 kids and the like really comfortable home, like,
And a dog. There's got to be, Josh, there's got to be a dog in there.
Yeah, like the dog in the corner of my screen chomping on his bone. It's so overdone, and every website has that. But what's unique about every company are the people, your brand, the trucks, your atmosphere, your office space, all these different things. Like, people want to see that stuff because they want to know who they're doing business with. So I think that's important to really highlight that stuff. It's not hard. It's not hard to do. It's time consuming. And that's why a lot of times it doesn't get done. And that's where digital marketing companies get hired. It's because we don't want to do it.
Right. How about we're at the kitchen table, and I assume maybe you bring up how many quotes you get in or that sort of thing. How do you sell there? Do you talk about the other quotes? Do you just kind of focus in on yourself? Is there any tips in that regard?
I think it's important to really get someone to open up to you, meaning, first of all, make them feel comfortable before you start diving into your questions. Get to know them a little bit, really if you get them laughing, you get them to open up and feel relaxed, where they're not nervous. They're kind of sitting back, oh, like, this is a fun conversation to have. I think that really opens up, and throughout that process, then you can start asking, hey, if you're getting other quotes, I'd be happy to always offer the option to come back. If you're not the last quote, if you're the last one, would you like to review those together to see what you're getting? I can help you review. If you become that trusted advisor where you're actually helping them. Now, obviously you can't, like, in that role, if something's a really good value and a really good price, you can't say it sucks. Like, you can't, because they're gonna, that trust that you built is gonna come right down.
You got to be honest. Yeah.
You gotta be honest. And honest, it sounds so silly, but if you're just genuine, people know what genuine looks like when they see it. And if you're just genuine, you just give an honest, truthful answer to the different questions that they have. I think people really respect that, and they will resonate with that.
I like that little bit of the advisory role, because there's a lot for the homeowner to wade through, right? So it might be like, well, yeah, that is a little cheaper, but that's a 14 SEER, and what I'm quoting you on is a 16 SEER, and that's how much it's going to save you every month. Yeah. So you almost want to be the last one. One of the rare things where you want to be the last one to the party, right?
Yeah, there's definitely, I know some people, sorry about that.
You're okay.
there's some people that want to be first because they're killer closers. They
Okay.
don't want anyone else in the door. And then there's always, I mean, for me, I always prefer to be last. That's the last impression they're going to get. And usually they're going to be kind of confused after the more quotes they get, the more confused they are.
Right.
There's all these brands, all these options, all the SEER ratings, all the
Right.
add-ons and accessories and all this stuff. And it just gets more confusing.
Now, would your expectation still to be get an answer that day, even though they're getting multiple quotes, or not so much?
I don't think so. I think it's hard. And honestly, the more you push for it, it's that it's like a, opposite ends of a battery, right? Like the harder you push, the more it repels type
Right.
thing. I think you really need to actively listen to your customer. Now, yes, you should absolutely ask for the business, because if you don't ask, you'll never get. But listen to them. And then try to, I mean, it does take, there's definitely some skills to understand, like, okay, customers telling me this, but is that really what they mean?
Right.
Because there's definitely some cat and mouse type game there where they're telling you something, but maybe it's not really what they mean. And that's where the salesperson's or the comfort advisor's job is to really dig into, like, ask the right questions and then see the body language, try to understand what they're actually saying and what the actual objections are, versus just take the customer at their word.
Then what does follow-up look like? How frequently and how long do you wait?
So for me, especially if you're using a CRM and you're emailing out that estimate, I would have a text message ready to go probably within like 30 minutes. Say, hey, really great visit today. Really enjoyed learning about, and make something personal, just one little personal thing, whatever it is. And maybe reiterate why these options will be able to take care of their hot or cold spot or whatever it is. And then make sure they got the quotes, first of all. You'd be surprised how many times people can't find them. They go to spam or something like that. Make sure they got the quotes. And then after that, I would probably every few days until they say no.
Okay.
And that, to me, that's where, on the other side of pre-selling with automation, post-selling with automation too, is one thing where this is sales in general. It's not just HVAC, but especially when it's hot or it's in the summer, we get in these really busy months, sales follow-up just takes a nosedive. Like, you'd be surprised. These companies have so many open estimates, that are just sitting there. It's a gold mine of hundreds of thousands of dollars of potential revenue just sit there. And then they wait until they're slow. Oh, I should probably start calling these people now.
And now they've gone on to something else, right? Or
they might have.
Yeah.
And now you have to probably give a discount to get them to move if they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Versus getting your full price.
Gotcha.
But the sales automation side, there's definitely some stuff brewing with artificial intelligence and being able to handle like the queries and stuff like that, where you don't necessarily need the salesperson to be there answering all the time. But the industry is going to undergo quite a change here in the next probably, we'll say 15 months by the end of 2024.
No doubt.
With AI and some of the technology that's coming out to help close some of these sales.
No doubt. Well, Josh, really appreciate you taking the time and kind of walking us through this this issue. Did want to kind of have you talk a little bit about Relentless Digital. People aren't familiar. Just kind of talk a little bit about the company, your role in the company, and then where can people go if they want to learn even more?
Sure. So website's pretty easy. It's relentless-digital.com. We are a digital marketing agency. We are not a jack of all trades. We're more of a master of a few. Local SEO, which was kind of what we referred to being found in Google Maps, website design to make sure that when people do get to your website, you convert, and then customer retention strategies, which is right along with what we're talking about today, pre-selling, post-selling, getting reviews, taking your customer list, getting, like right now, this time of year, it's September when we're shooting this, starting to get slow, doing heating season tune-ups in mass for your entire customer list and booking them up for several weeks at a time. So that's really where we live and breathe every single day, is those things. We have other partners that do like the paid ads and social media and stuff like that.
All right, perfect. Well, sounds like certainly a value. I encourage all the contractors to kind of check it out. But again, Josh, thanks for taking the time and talking us through this issue.
All right, thank you.